Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. You're watching Quran and Science. And from this holy verse that you've just listened to, I want to know, Mustafa, what is the meaning that you're getting behind or you're extracting from this holy verse?
The initial meanings that I get right away as soon as I read the ayah, subhanAllah, the verse, is that everything is created from water. That's
Yes.
even the plants. If the the land is like constant, is not moving, and once the water, the rainwater is coming above it, it's just plants up there. So even the plants is part of this universe, and it's the water is the most important thing for its living being.
And it is now a fact not only for the natural creatures or plants. I think it's also a fact for any construction or anything. You need water for everything,
That's right.
everything in life.
Yes. So
Okay.
this is basically the initial
Yes.
meanings that we get right away.
Okay. Zabihullah.
Yes, and I just want to comment that besides that, we need a water, we need a good soil for these plants. And we have an example of a country like Sudan that have 250 million hectare of land, which is suitable for the agriculture.
And it's very strange since it's like more of a hot weather, but also they have lots of
a good soil for
a great soil for
agriculture, yeah.
plants. Okay, now let's find your interpretation, Dr. Zaghloul, about this holy verse.
I begin by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and asking His blessings and mercy for Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And I greet you and your audience in our Islamic way. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah's peace, blessings and mercy be with you all. And I see in this verse lots of scientific information that was not known at the time of revelation of the Quran. Allah says, فَإِذَا أَنزَلْنَا وَتَرَى الْأَرْضَ هَامِدَةً. You see the earth standing still. فَإِذَا أَنزَلْنَا عَلَيْهَا الْمَاءِ اهْتَزَّتْ وَرَبَتْ. When we drop water on top of it, either by rain or by simple watering, اهتزت وربت وأنبتت من كل زوج بهيج. This is purely scientific knowledge that came to our notice only very recently. First of all, the clay minerals that constitute the soil has got a flaky character, a flaky nature. They are all found in thin flakes. And this flaky nature allows plenty of air to be included within the soil. When you water the soil, this air is expelled out, and this will cause the soil to bulge. Secondly, the surface of these flakes carry electric charges, and the water molecule is a dipolar molecule. The oxygen atom carries a negative charge, the two hydrogen atoms carry a positive charge, so it will again react with the electrical charges on the surface of the flaky minerals. It will cause these to shake and jerk, you see, upwardly, to bulge.
But this is something that we can feel?
Of course, it has been even photographed.
Yes.
Experimentally. It has been photographed as slow motion, and you could see it. You see actually the flakes of the mineral shaking as the Quran is describing it, shaking and jerking and bulging upwardly.
Yes, exactly.
اهتزت وربت.
وربت.
And bulging upwardly.
Yes, okay.
And this is an essential condition for the earth to make it suitable for plantation. Because once you put a seed in the soil and you water that soil with the proper quantity of water, and the seed starts to germinate, it will have a shoot rising upwardly.
Yes.
And this shoot, if it hits a sand grain, it can kill it. It has to have a free passageway so that it can reach the surface. Without reaching the surface, it will never live. So this is a great wisdom from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He has made the soil to be so composed and has made the water with these characters, and so that the water can cause the soil on hydrolysis to bulge upwardly until it thins greatly and cracks. Through this crack, the gentle, tender, germinating shoot can come safely out to the surface of the ground. Without coming to the surface of the ground, it can never grow.
Yes, and it's a natural process of having the soil expand and maybe allowing plants
yes,
to
indeed,
grow.
indeed.
Doctor, what is the different types of soil? We've seen a lot of countries that they don't really have the suitable soil for plants, and others who has.
You see, the best type of soil is what we call the clayey, sandy soil, because the clay carries the food for the plant. All the minerals that the plant would need is found in the clay minerals. And the sand can create a certain degree of porosity and permeability so that the water can permeate easily, and the roots of the plant can also penetrate easily until it becomes fixed in the ground. If you have a purely clayey soil, it contains the rich nutrient for the plant, but the plant cannot penetrate it easily and the water cannot permeate it easily. If you have a purely sandy soil, it's highly porous and highly permeable, but it does not contain any nutrients for the plant. So the best type of soil is what we call the sandy clayey soil. A soil containing clay, which is the nutrient for the plant, and the sand to create a certain degree of porosity, a certain degree of permeability, so that the water can permeate easily and the plant can drop its roots easily and can, of course, catch whatever nutrients it needs.
But now science has developed, and now I think any soil now could be moved or changed to be able to be.
Yes, by using, if you have a sand soil, if you put some nutrients in it, it will become okay.
Yes.
But of course, it will take a huge quantity of water due to its high permeability. Yes. If you have a purely clay soil, you have to mix it with some sand, so that you can give it a certain element or certain degree of permeability.
Okay, I like to move back to the holy verse and the word the words من كل زوج بهيج.
Yes.
So what is the meaning of من كل زوج بهيج?
Yes. You see, I think we mentioned in another episode that out of the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah has created everything in that universe in pairs, so that Allah alone will remain exalted in His unity above all His creation. So, أنبتت من كل زوج بهيج. Every type of food, every type of green, every type of fruit, every type, you will find plenty of couples, you see, that either draw closer to each other in their features and their taste and colors. Varieties, endless varieties of these fruits and of these vegetables and of these seeds, you see, that testify to the only one, and the only one in this universe is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
In the previous episode, we discussed about the rain is one of the important elements for the leveling of Earth. This is another benefit that we're seeing also from rain. Is there any other importance for rain?
Well, the best use of rain, of course, is life cannot exist without water.
Yes.
And that's why the Quran says, وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ. We have made out of water every living being. You see, a newly born child has got 90% of its body water.
Yes.
A grown-up man will have between 65 and 70% water.
Yes.
A grown-up woman will have between 55 and 65% of her body water. So some of the vegetables and the fruits and the really contain more than 90% water. So water is essential for life, and life cannot exist without water. Secondly, water is the main factor by which the soil was formed. Unless you break the rock into tiny fractions, you cannot produce soil. And the main agent in fragmenting the rock
process, yes,
and the breaking it is water. You see,
yes.
Unless you produce soil, you can never have plantation. Unless you produce soil, you can never have a way of storing groundwater. You see,
yes.
And as we said in a previous episode, Allah distributes the rain according to His own wisdom. And in a desert area, Allah will allow certain reservoirs where during the rainy period of that period, Allah can store water for the future generations, and so on. So water is really a very important factor for many assets and many values in our life.
Okay, now we move for a very short break and return back for more questions about this topic, the soil. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. You're watching Quran and Science. And I will move for more questions about the soil, and we'll first start by Mustafa Ismail.
It's just the amount of water in the human body and the amount of water in the plants. Like, what's the percentage of water in the human being, for instance?
In the human body?
Yes.
I said a newly born baby will have 90% of its total mass water.
What about plants?
Plants, some of the plants can have more than 90%.
Now, to compare this to the
Yes.
amount of water, like oceans and rivers, in the whole universe, versus to the
You
soil,
see,
what is the percentage?
98.5% of the total water of the earth is in seas and oceans. And only 2.5% are found on continental masses.
I see.
The bulk of this 2.5% is frozen as ice sheets at the two poles. And the bulk of what's left after that is in the form of groundwater. And all the water that's flowing in the rivers where people can fight for this water is less than 0.2% of the total amount of water on land.
SubhanAllah.
You could imagine this. And that's why you see Allah shows His bounds upon us by storing some water in the ground. Because in an area like, for example, in desert areas, unless you can hit some groundwater, people cannot live, actually.
That's right.
In areas where you get flowing rivers, it's okay. And who had stored this other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And the Quran says, وَمَا أَنْتُمْ لَهُ بِخَازِنِينَ. Who stored it other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
So basically, the main elements of any living being, human beings, plants, whatever, is the main element would be the water, correct?
Water.
I see.
That's why the Quran says, وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ. We have made out of water every living entity, every living thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, Zabihullah.
So could water, soil and climate affect the taste of fruits? Like, let me explain more. In my country, we can see the taste of fruit is different from place to place. In Kandahar, Herat, you can find 70 kind of grapes, but you can't make it
Very
in other
good
parts.
question. Yeah. So the question is that different soils and different places you find plants and fruits have different tastes.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Because you see, the plant is actually feeding on the minerals in that soil. Although Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given each plant the capacity to select from whatever is available, what suits it, yet it's seriously affected by what's there. You see, if it does, for example, it has got 2-3 choices, you see, and the first choice is not there, to take the second choice. The second choice is not there, to take the third choice. You see, and that's why you find people, plants are directly linked to the soil they are growing on. And not only that, even humans, you see. Sometimes scientists can try to find a reason for patriotism. Why someone, like you like your own country very much and try to mention it all the time, inshallah. So really, because you grow on that soil, you feed on the fruits and the vegetables that's growing from that soil. And there must be some trace elements in that soil that are in your body. So it always pushes you there. And that's why you can find a scientific reasoning for loving your own country. Because my body is part of it.
Okay.
Yes.
So another question is close to the first question, is that some fruit is very digestible. It's very easy to digest. The same fruit in other country, you eat and it's not digestible.
Yes. There are many unknowns in the human body. And as I said, if your physique, if your body is built up from minerals in a certain soil, it will try to analyze and digest the fruit that's coming from that soil better than the fruit coming from another soil. And really there is many indications that can support this hypothesis, that somebody growing on a soil will be deeply attached to that soil, to the animals living on that soil, to the fruits and vegetables growing from that soil.
Okay, so the final question before.
Yeah, please.
It's like we human created from the soil, as it's mentioned in the Quran, from tin. So why the color change people from place to place.
So why is there a color change or different colors of human and the human was created from tin?
Yes.
From clay.
You see, the Quran tells us that we all came from one father and one mother,
Yes.
Adam and Eve alayhi salam. The chromosomes in the bodies of Adam and Eve are described as the genetic pool from which every human being have come. And we know that we grow by the splitting of the chromosomes. And the chromosome, Allah has given it the capacity to repeat itself. It's split and repeats itself. And each half will build a new cell. And that's why we grow from a small number of cells to this, or actually from 2 cells to these trillions of cells. So every one of us has got a share from the genetic pool that was in the body of Adam and Eve. May Allah be pleased with them both. And even a twin from the same parents, they will have different characters. They will have different shapes. They may look outwardly similar, but if you analyze them carefully, you will find that they are actually different. Because every human being has got his genetic imprint, which characterizes him from any other human being.
Just a question back to the ayah itself, Professor. اهتزت وربت. Could you please shed some light on the word rabat? Because literally in Arabic, the word is originated from the word riba, which means like to multiply or
Yes.
to.
Yes. Yes.
What exactly the meaning?
Barakallah feek.
Yes.
You see, raba here means bulged upwardly.
Okay.
And raba means aziyada. Any increment in anything is called riba.
No.
You see,
Yes.
not all riba is bad. You see, it's only bad in money. You see, but you see, in anything that grows, this is rabwa means an elevated area. You see, rabwa, an elevated area. So ihtazat warabat means it will start to shake. You see, and actually this shaking has been photographed at slow speed, and we could see it visually. Yani the flakes of the minerals are actually shaking, trembling like a shivering man, you see, trembling, you see, and rising upwardly. And as it rises upwardly, it thins out greatly to crack, to allow a free passageway for this, you see. A riba in money is an increment with undue effort or undue risk. And that's why it's haram in Islam, because it allows money to grow and increase unduly. And this leads to inflation, and inflation leads to steady rising in the costs of things, by which the needy sector in the society can suffer.
Yes. Doctor, I have a question about concerning what you were asking previously. It's about the water itself, the different types of waters that you are watering the soil with. Does it affect the plants? Because sometimes they would say that these plants are coming from areas with bad water, or maybe sometimes with sewage water.
Yes.
Does this affect the plants itself?
Yes, yes. You see, of course, all plants prefer pure water. All plants prefer pure water. And they cannot flourish without this pure water. But there are certain plants which Allah has given it the capacity to grow in brackish water, semi-saline water,
yes,
or even in saline water.
Yes.
You see, but these are special cases. In general, plants need purified water, fresh, pure water. If you water the plant with, say, the water coming from drainage system,
yes,
or coming from sewage, see, it will seriously affect the plant.
So it could have any poison damage,
Definitely.
poisons inside the seed itself?
Definitely. Definitely. There is no doubt about that. Unless you are absolutely sure that the water has been purified 100%, don't use it for watering the plant. Because many people think that I can use sewage water in irrigation.
Yes.
This is very damaging. It can be
Yes.
very, very harmful indeed. Because the plant is a living entity that can react with anything bad, as well as can react with anything good.
The process of watering itself and rain, it sounds like a process of washing. So how does the soil maintain its minerals?
You see, not all minerals can dissolve easily in water. But of course, how come that the salinity of oceanic waters is increasing year after year? because as the water runs on the surface of the ground,
This
it
goes
dissolves whatever is available to dissolve and dumps it into the ocean.
Yes.
And as the water is evaporated from the ocean, it leaves
Very back.
behind its filth. It's dirt, actually. And salt is part of that. But amazingly enough, this salt can accumulate, and the ocean can dry up, and this salt can be mined out and used on land again.
Yes.
So it's a continuous process. But of course, it does not dissolve. Rain does not dissolve every useful element in the soil.
One final question before we end. The word وَتَرَى الْأَرْضَ هَامِدَةً. What is the relation between hamidatan here and rain and اهتزت and what's the connection between
Yes, you see, hamidatan means standing still. You see the soil with no movement in it, you see, as if it is standing still. And when the rain comes, it starts to shake and jerk, you see. A new movement comes in, you see. And as this movement comes in, you see, it allows the bulging upward of the soil and the cracking of the soil, because not all the soil will be watered. The part is watered will bulge and will thin. The part that's not watered will remain still and idle and not bulging or not working upwardly. So ترى الأرض هامدة, like somebody who is lazying around, doing nothing, you see. Once you rain it, once you drop rain on it or you water it, it starts moving.
Professor Zaghlul Najjar, Jazakallah khair. It was a very informative episode. Actually, we really enjoyed it, and it was a pleasure to have you here with us at Huda TV. And I also like to thank Mustafa Ismail and Zabihullah for being here with us. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
My dear brothers and sisters, with this we come to the end of this episode of Quran and Science. We thank you for watching. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.